Volunteers are the lifeblood of the Boy Scouts of America and have been since the BSA was founded in 1910. Originally, troops in local communities were led by a team of volunteers until enough units and scouts joined in an area, which is when a professional scouter was recruited and assigned to help with the administration of the BSA program in that area and with those units. While there are many awards designed to recognize a volunteer's contributions to the BSA, there are two items that are used to indicate how long an individual has been involved in scouting as a scout or scouter. These items are service pins and veterans pins and patches. We'll learn more about all of these recognition items in this edition of Artifact of the Week. In 1913, the BSA introduced a green service stripe to be worn on the right sleeve of the uniform to indicate a scout or scouter had been a member for 1 year. A red stripe was also created to indicate 3 years of registration in the organization. In 1921, a gold stripe was added to indicate 5 years of service. We have examples of the service stripes on display in the museum for you to see. These stripes were replaced in 1923 by service stars with a colored background disc made of felt to indicate the number of years of service. The colors used at the time were green, gray, yellow, red, purple, and blue. In 1946, the color of the background disc was changed from the number of years served to instead indicate the program you were associated with, and a number was added to the star to indicate the years of service. In 1951, the felt discs were replaced with plastic discs. Adults could wear a single star with the number of years of service both as a youth or an adult, or they could wear a star with the number of years in each program, starting with Cubs on a yellow disc on the far right of their uniform. Next, Boy Scouts on a green disc, then Senior Scouts on a red disc, and finally Adult Service on the aforementioned blue disc, closest to the buttons on the uniform. In 1955, the numbering scheme for the stars changed to a plain star and numbers 1 through 10, 20, 30, and 40. The plain star was discontinued in 1977, and additional pins for 50, 60, 70, 75, 80, 85, and 90 years have been added over time. Today it's possible to see Scouts and Scouters with service stars representing time in Lions, Tigers, Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, Scouts BSA, Senior Scouts, Varsity Scouts, Explorers, Venturing, and Adult Volunteer Service. On display at the museum, you will see many examples of service stars on a variety of uniforms, including James E. West's uniform. Another uniform item designed to recognize time registered with the BSA was the Veterans Patches, introduced in 1917. These were designed to be worn on the sleeve of the uniform jacket and later the uniform shirt, and were issued in 5-year increments. While the veteran patches were originally produced on tan cloth to match the uniform, from 1933 to 1945, Sea Scouts could get these veteran patches on blue and white cloth to match their uniforms. In 1945 or 1946, the patches became cut-edge patches, so producing multiple versions was no longer necessary. At the museum, we have a variety of these patches on display. One of the most unique veteran patches manufactured and on display is the special 25-year award created in 1935 and presented to just 60 individuals who remained continuously registered from 1910 to 1935. You can also see a 30-year veteran patch on James E. West's uniform. The veteran patches were discontinued in 1953. While the service stars and veteran patches were for uniform wear, Scouting veteran pins were designed for wear on civilian clothing. The veteran pins were introduced along with the veteran patch in 1917 and are still available today. We have several veteran pins on display here at the museum, and the design of the veteran pin mimicked the veteran patches until 1965, when the design was updated with the BSA tenderfoot symbol replacing the first class emblem and the Roman numerals being replaced with Arabic numbers. The 50-year and 75-year pins have very similar designs. The 25-year pin was also redesigned in 1965 and features a different style with the tenderfoot emblem larger and on top of the background as opposed to being enclosed within the background. Note that the 25-year pin on display was introduced in 1935 and is silver instead of gold. In 2010, Ira Reynolds of Susquehanna, Pennsylvania was awarded a 90-year pin. He was born in January of 1902 and joined the Boy Scouts in January of 1914 and remained involved for the remainder of his life. He had 2 short breaks in continuous membership, once in the 1930s when he was traveling around the country to find work during the Great Depression, and for a short time while he served in the Navy. According to official records, Ira completed his last official training in 1996 at the age of 94. He died in 2010. He was 108 years old. So when will the 100-year veteran pin be introduced? Well, it's hard to say, but it is theoretically possible that someone today could have been registered with the BSA for 100 years. And who knows, maybe a 5-year-old Lion Cub Scout today will hit that milestone long after I and most of us have gone home. Well, that's all the time we have for this week. Join us next time as we continue to learn more about the history of the BSA through the collection of the National Scouting Museum and Artifact of the Week.